Hey everyone, this is Marfracantinez here in my house right now, and I wanted to make a quick video to explain for DPS, specifically stamina DPS, because that's what I'm running right now, the basics of parsing. Parsing is something that you see with a lot of other groups. Perhaps you've been in a dungeon or a trial and you've seen some numbers that have come up and wondered what that all meant. Well, parsing is one of the ways in ESO, and has been in, I think, MMOs for quite some time, for damage dealers to gauge how well they're doing, or sometimes even to compare themselves with other people. And I think, of course, we know that when it comes to any players, it's not just the amount of damage you deal. You need to be able to, roll out of damage, or make sure you're not standing in red. If you've got to do any mechanics during the fight, like if you're in Mal Lorcash, if you have to run, all those things are important. But when it comes to trials, and of course to improvement of your character, one of the biggest thing is knowing how much damage that you can do. And since the inclusion of target dummies in ESO, it's gotten a lot easier to look at, and then of course to even judge. So the biggest question I think people ask is, why should I parse? Why does it matter? As a guitar player, I know that practicing scales over and over again is not a song, but I know that just the mechanics and the muscle memory in my hands makes it a lot easier when I'm trying to do different things. I think whenever I go to the golf course, I go to the driving range during the summer, and mostly that's to increase my drive, maybe get better with my short clubs. It's not the actual game, but each little thing improves when you're actually in the midst of it. And I think that's what parsing is. So when you're actually going against a target dummy, bosses don't usually just stand still. There's round effects. What you're learning to do is just being able to get into a habit or the muscle memory of doing as much damage as you possibly can, while utilizing the various different skills that you have available with your character. Now for this is my stam blade, this is my main, and I've actually changed out some of the gear on it, just because I know that not everybody has access to the gear that I have at this moment. I will tell you though that I've taken a lot of time to work on this, maybe a couple hours a day, maybe when in between things that are going on, I'm going to play for a little bit. And I think it's well worth it. I would say the only thing that is probably more worth the time investment, other than working on your rotation, is getting your Maelstrom weapons. Now I'm going to run without the Maelstrom bow, just to show you what kind of DPS can be done without it. But I can tell you that just from my own practice, it adds about at least 10 to 15k depending on your proficiency. So this is probably the second biggest thing that you could do to improve your DPS. The biggest thing I would argue would be this rotation that I've been doing. Number one, because you can always keep improving. Once you get the Maelstrom weapons, you're done. So that makes it a little bit easier. With the rotations, you're always improving, skills are always changing, bugs are being fixed, or imbalances are being done, so there's always a reason to keep practicing. And number two, I think the reason to keep practicing is that once you learn on this character, you transfer it to any of your other DPS characters. So let me just go ahead and finish this guy down to 0. When I parse, my build is usually a little bit different than actual fight. So for example, I'll go through what I'm running with. But I don't put trap beast and blood bars on the fight. Of course I'm going to take it now, just because I want to see how much DPS I have. And of course I'm without buffs, so that when I'm buffed in an actual trial group, that DPS goes up. So as a DPS, I'm running Salien's Visage, which can be gotten from Salien's Web, very easy set, that's the bear proc. Reliquins, which we get from Cloud Rest, and of course Advancing Yokeda from Hellrot Citadel. And then I just grabbed an old Hunting Rage's bow with infused on it to keep up the weapon damage, which is that glyph that's on there. So when you practice too, you're learning what your character does, what each skill does, why it's good to hit your ult, and then proc your bow, or make sure that you're keeping Trap Beast up at all times, or making sure that you're keeping Endless Hail up at all times. Why you need to make sure for your sustain that you keep light attacks in between each of your attacks. Now, I don't want to go through the entire what it takes to do rotations. I think that Alcast and Dots Gaming, they have some great ones about all the information. I'm just going to show you that with some basic gear, and this is just me not trying really hard, not really sweating to get the best DPS possible, but that you can play your relaxed game of ESO, that you can enjoy the game without having to develop carpal tunnel syndrome and still put out a good amount of damage, making you very viable for trial groups, and of course always helping your group. My buffs. I'll just go ahead and, well, no, I won't use potions because I want to be able to judge my sustain. So start here. Putting a light attack and that counter in the middle there is just a reminder as I get to 5 that I can fire off my Grim Focus. Of course, this is a perfect rotation. I'm trying out some different things, and I'm talking a little bit during it as well. But as you can see, just my running DPS right now is 34,000, which is very reasonable, acceptable DPS for running even vet dungeons or normal trials. If I'm telling people that I'm pulling 35k DPS, then that would get me into pretty much grade. But now what you see happening here is that I'm running on a stamina jump. One of the ways to offset that is to have a potion. I'm doing it without potions this time. Right. So right there, this is 38k, and we'll type in our combat metrics. And 38k. If you can pull 38k DPS without ever getting a Maelstrom weapon, you're doing pretty good. This can get you into, you could even get into vet raids with 38k. Probably not a progression group, but how do I get there? So using combat metrics, you can look at your up times for, say, for Berserker, see where you need to work on. For example, ramming trap 76%, poison injection only 64%, rending slashes from twin slashes only 46%. Maybe that could have been improved. Going down to abilities, endless hail, I didn't keep that up enough. That's clearly what was one of the issues. I fired off the Assassin's Scourge 7 times, 5 crits. Could get better. Killer's Blade, I had some pretty nice crits there for 53, which put me over the edge at the end. But that also tells me too that I could do a lot better if I was able to maintain my stamina during the fight, and I was able to make sure getting all those light attacks. There's a lot of ways in improving. Again, if you're looking to improve yourself as a player, not just by chasing gold and getting gear, but actually investing time to do the rotations and to take maybe like 30 minutes or an hour each day to just stand in front of your target gun and even just practice getting a light attack at each hit. Each little thing helps your DPS, helps you improve as a player. And of course, when you do have to run out or you have to run away to go activate something, you can immediately run back, and start your rotation all over again. Keep things going. So I hope this has been a help. Again, if you have any questions or you want to know how to get better at your rotation, you got any gear questions, you can either just message me in game, Frackentines, or you can put a message in our spicy Discord. Stay spicy, everyone. Take care.